Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pacers Sports Live, here shot on location at Mellow Mushroom in Aiken, South Carolina. We'd like to say thank you to Mellow Mushroom for allowing us to be on location, and I'd like to go ahead and introduce the panel, as always, Coach Mark Miller, Coach Mark Vanderslice, and Coach Kenny Thomas.
Good evening.
So we're going to switch things up a little bit this week. Coach Miller and Coach Vanderslice are now officially out of season as far as, play goes. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what you guys do on a daily basis during the off season. Kind of walk us through your day. Tell us how you go about your, keeping the team in shape, keeping the team together, and just tell us about your off season activities.
Well, right now for us, recruiting is priority. We've got some holes that we need to fill in, so we spend a lot of time recruiting. But starting tomorrow for us, we get our team back on the court, back in the weight room, back in the conditioning. So NCAA rules allow us to have 6 hours weight room and conditioning, and then 2 hours each week on the court. So we start that this week. We'll run that right through until the week before finals start, and then we have to stop workouts, and then they go finals, and then they go home. So what we're doing is we're working out 3 days a week at 6:45 in the morning. We'll go 6:45 to 7:45 in the morning. With strength and conditioning those 3 days. And then for 2 hours during the week, we go in small groups, kind of split them up, guards in one group and bigs in another, and we'll spend an hour working on fundamentals and skills and, just making ourselves better. So, for our team right now, we're working on making sure we get better, getting stronger, getting quicker, getting in shape, and then working on our skills, getting better fundamentally and spending some time in that area. Some weaknesses that we see that we want to improve on for each individual is a time right now that we work on that.
Okay. And Coach Vanderslice, the same kind of question to you. Just walk us through what you're doing at the moment with your team, keeping everybody in shape and all that kind of thing. Tell us about you.
Very similar for both sports. I mean, NCAA mandates that you take two weeks off post your last day of competition. So we just got back from spring break today. So we're in a position right now where we're going to meet with our players, get a chance to talk to them, sit down with them postseason meetings, talk to them about the year, what we thought they did well, what they need to work on, what our expectations are for the future. That's an important part of the building blocks of the postseason leading up to next year. So we meet with our guys. We obviously have our postseason. Just like Coach Miller, we have the conditioning, 6 hours of conditioning and weights, 2 hours of skill development, and then obviously recruiting. So we have to fill in the gaps with the guys that graduate, and that's just nonstop. It's an everyday thing, and I've said this before, but it's always stuck with me. Recruiting is what they say. Recruiting is like shaving. You take a couple days off, you start looking like a bum. You always have to recruit, and so. Those are probably the two major things that we're looking at more than anything. It's just recruiting and postseason development.
All right. Well, coaches, thank you guys so much. And Coach Kenny Thomas, we're going to go ahead and talk to you. You're still in season. You're just getting started. So you just picked up the series win against Georgia Southwestern this weekend, but we want to go back a little bit and talk about the home series win against North Georgia. So talk to us a little bit about North Georgia, and then we'll move on into Georgia Southwestern.
Well, it was a tale of two tales. On Friday night, we played real well, pitched real well. I've said since January that our team needs to be built around our pitching staff. We pitched real well, and on Sunday we pitched well and won those games. Saturday it wasn't so good. We had a pretty good start on the mound, but then our relief pitching wasn't as good as normal, and on Saturday we lost that game, and that was a little disappointing. As a coach, you want to win them all three. I know you hear that all the time about win the series, win 2 out of 3. Well, if you win 2 out of 3 all the time in the conference, you will be 20-10 at the end of the season in conference play if you win 2 out of 3. I don't remember a conference champion in the last few years having 10 losses. So 2 out of 3 is not going to get you to the championship most years. Most of the time it takes 6 to 7, maybe 8 losses to win the conference championship. So, it was a little disappointing in our efforts on Saturday, but at the same time I was very excited about the way we bounced back on Sunday and played well on Sunday. So It was a tough series, as they all are in the Peach Belt. The funny thing about the Peach Belt this year is we've played, 4 weekends, and everybody's got some arms. You know, we went to Georgia Southwestern this past weekend, and, they're in last place in the conference, and gosh, they run guys out there throwing 91 miles an hour all 3 games. So everybody's got arms. So it's, you got to match that on the mound. That's what you have to do. And heck, we're, 17-8 right now. Not where I hope to be, but, there's a lot of people who like to be 17-8. Heck, I go through the Kroger to pick up a prescription through the drug center there in Kroger this morning. Dadgum, they say, what in the world's wrong with y'all? I said, well, dadgum, we're 17-8. I mean, I know the expectations around here are pretty high, but, it's just kind of weird. I'm trying to pick up a eye drop prescription, and what in the world's wrong with y'all? I said, well, I guess we're 17-8. That's what's wrong with us. But big week coming up for sure this week. Very big week. So.
Okay. And so just kind of tell us a little bit how you feel where the team is at the moment.
I think our pitching staff is starting. We as coaches are starting to get some people in their roles. And I remember I said that a couple of weeks ago. We've got to figure out all these pitchers, who's in what roles. So we're starting to figure that out a little bit. So hopefully that's good. Offensively, we take a step forward and a step backwards. And, we're working extremely hard offensively right now to improve. And I never dreamed that we would have these struggles that we've had offensively. Some days we're pretty good. Some days we're pretty good offensively. Some days we're pretty good pitching. Some days we're not. So we're still looking for that consistency a little bit offensively. But, it's this 2-week stretch. I told the guys last night after the game, this 2-week stretch we're fixed to start Wednesday night is as tough as anybody in the country is ever going to face. So we really have to be playing well for the next 2 weeks, because I don't think you can find anybody's schedule in the country that would have as tough a 2 weeks as what we have. Now, I like tough. I don't like playing teams that we know we're going to beat 16 runs before the game starts. I don't like that. I like our guys to be challenged, and I like to play a tough schedule. And we discussed that one time. There's 2 ways to look at it. You can chase wins all the time, or you can play a tough schedule, and hopefully that tough schedule will pay off for you at the end of the year, and that's what we're doing.
All right. Well, coaches, thank you guys so much for the recap. We're going to go ahead and switch gears a little bit. We're going to go ahead and talk to our special guest for this week, softball senior outfielder Brielle Jungblut. Brielle, welcome to the panel. How does it feel?
Thanks for having me. I feel like I watch you guys all the time. Finally with you guys.
Exactly. You're a regular attendee to the filming, so it's good to finally have you at the table with the coaches.
We know Dr. Wilson, Charmaine Wilson came. She sat right in that seat. We haven't seen her since. That was 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, she hasn't.
I haven't seen her anywhere since. I don't know. She ain't come down here.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen to her.
I mean, I think she's in
Don't
hiding.
scare me off.
I think she's in hiding.
That's not a good thing.
We can now interview you instead of you.
Yeah, this is
interviewing
different.
us.
Yeah.
Definitely different for me. I don't know how I feel about it.
You're definitely switching your roles up this episode. But so the first question we always want to ask everybody is, what brought you to USC Aiken?
I have a typical answer. It's just close to home. My mom lives 2 hours away, right outside of Hilton Head. Came to USC Aiken. I actually wasn't recruited. I just came to go to school. And my freshman year, second semester, I asked Coach if I could have a tryout. And luckily enough, I made the team, and here we are.
Excellent. And so tell us a little bit about what it's like to play here at USC Aiken.
It has its ups and downs. It's opened so many opportunities for me. Like, luckily, I'm always involved in the athletic department, so I feel like that softball's brought me that much. And then it's also, like, given me, like, so many life lessons about time management, learning, like, what to do and what not to do, realizing that, eyes are always on you and people are always watching you. So, I mean, it's brought a lot of things to my life, and I'm really thankful for it.
Well, that's awesome. And so kind of tell us about, this is always the question that throws everybody off. How do you feel about athletics as a whole at USC Aiken?
Athletics as a whole. Personally, I see a whole different side of it because I do work with everybody in the athletic department. I think recently it's gotten so much better. A lot of people don't realize like how much athletes go through. They think that, sometimes we're just these privileged people, but they don't realize how much time and effort and hard work it goes into being an actual athlete. So I think it's a great thing, especially here at USC Aiken.
That's awesome. And so now we're going to open it up for the coaches to ask you a couple of questions if they have any.
Be gentle.
Gentle. So tell us about the team. Tell us about the process, how this is going. I know you guys are kind of up and down a little bit, but tell me where you guys are with your team.
I think we have a lot of potential, and we're just not really using it right now. Like Coach Thomas was saying earlier, I would much rather play harder teams than just play for a win. I feel like whenever we play people that we should beat, I feel like we play down to their potential, not up to our full potential. Luckily, we just got into conference, so we're 1-1 in conference, which, obviously I want to be 2-0, but we played a lot better. So hopefully, we were just waiting for those conference plays. We have so much potential, we're just not using it right now. Yeah, it's difficult.
Well, from a personal side, you said time management, and you've seen both sides. You've been to school and you weren't playing softball,
Right.
and now you're doing both. Talk to us a little bit about, since you've been on both sides, how that time management, when you now are on a sport, how that's brought, if it has or has not brought structure, to your studies, to your
absolutely.
academics, and kind of where that's fit in your life.
Well, when I wasn't an athlete here, I hung out with all the athletes, and it just wasn't fun for me to have them always go and do their things and me just be with all this time. Personally, I've been a better student as I've been an athlete than I was when I wasn't an athlete. I feel like softball and sports itself has always played a big role in my life, and it gives me something to work towards. So being a softball player, all my friends have always been on the softball team, and it makes me want to be a part of that. So I struggled in the beginning, but ever since it's been smooth sailing. I realized what's important and what's not. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. Sounds like you've got goals.
Yeah.
More athletic goals has kind of helped your academic goals.
Yeah,
as
it really
well.
has. I feel like I've always been that type of person that has to have something that they have to work towards. So softball was kind of my motivation, growing up and being in college.
That's great.
So what's your plan when you get out of school?
I'd really would like to stay involved in sports. As you guys know, I interview guys a lot. I'd really like to stay in sports interviewing and stuff like that. But hopefully I move to a bigger city. I would like to.
This is not big enough here for you?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, really? Really?
I'd really like to move back up north of Philly.
2 hours away. What city? 2 hours away.
Right outside of Hilton Head.
That's where okay.
That's where
Smaller than
my
here.
mom lives.
Smaller
Yeah.
than here.
But my whole family lives right outside of Philadelphia.
Oh.
I'm a big Eagles fan, so hopefully.
So is Dan Robb. Did you hear about that?
So
I didn't.
I just left Philadelphia. I was there for 7 years. What part of Philadelphia?
Well, we live over the bridge in Jersey.
Where at? In
Cherry
Jersey,
Hill.
Across the bridge.
Yeah. But I grew up in Philly. We always went there for all the sporting events, and it's always been my dream to work up there. So hopefully I'll be
You
back
haven't.
there.
It's been a while since you've been there, though, right?
Yeah, it has been.
I can tell.
So why?
can
So
tell.
you want to go back to that cold weather? That's
Yeah,
what you're saying.
I do.
Hey,
I
by
love
the
the
way-
cold.
By the way, they're about ready to get another foot of snow.
Yes.
I
it's by the
know.
way.
It's March.
It's funny. My cousin sent me a picture literally 2 days ago, and there was so much snow, and I was just well, it's 75. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I want to ask you another question. I've noticed over the years here that softball players, they always come to our baseball games when you're not playing. And so I'm assuming our baseball players come over there sometimes.
Never.
They don't?
No.
I assume wrong. Well, but I do think that there's been kind of a good relationship
Yeah.
between the softball and
Switch
the
gears.
baseball.
That's what you want to call it.
Maybe
That
we
wasn't
don't-
the answer. That wasn't the answer he was looking for.
Maybe we don't come to the game.
It's not just you guys, though. It makes me
Maybe
feel
that's
better.
because I'm practicing them at the
all
wrong
the time. You guys practice a little bit more than we do.
We do? Well, we may play more home games. Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe that's it.
But anyhow, I just have noticed, and we really appreciate, y'all coming to the games, but I will try to encourage our guys to come over and watch a little bit.
You should.
We play 5 days a week sometimes, 4 days a week. So,
I feel ya.
It is what it is. But anyhow, I thought I was going in. But by the way,
It changed on you. U-turn, baby.
yes, I thought I was kind
I'm
of
not going to sugarcoat anything.
I thought she was going to say, yeah, y'all guys really support us and everything. Well,
Nah.
so much for that, huh?
Good try, though. It was a good try.
You put the effort in for sure.
I tried to make it
I didn't mean to
sound.
shoot you down. Sorry.
Thank you, Bree, for y'all being down the third
You're
base
welcome.
line at all those home games at baseball. Thank
Well,
you.
unfortunately, I have to work all your games now, so it's not really.
Have you got pizza coming?
No, that's not me.
Really? Dang. That
I
looks
think I know who that is.
That's all Coach Vanderslice.
Wow. Look at that.
Didn't Brent pay for that?
I
Brent,
think
A
you did.
slice.
A
A slice
slice
of
he
it.
paid
Just
for.
a slice.
they charged it to your bill.
I learned my lesson ordering pizza to the table the first episode we had.
Never got it.
He ate all of
He
it.
did. He did. He came hard for
Well,
my pizza.
it's kind of the table.
Yeah, there was there was a little bit of a mistake right there.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We've since made up. We've since forgiven each other. It was,
They're offering your pizza away right now, actually.
Oh man. Oh man. No. Now my pizza's in danger from all fronts. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Look, see,
Have to throw some bows during
I
the
didn't
break.
say I was sharing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. No, you can leave it there. You can leave it there. I'm just kidding.
Well, Brielle, thank you so much for coming on to the show, joining us. We've had a blast as always. Hopefully the coaches didn't scare you off.
No,
Too
I'll be
bad.
back, I
Just
promise.
Coach Thomas.
Yeah, that
Coach
was,
Thomas.
I don't know where that was going, but it's fine.
you like my dogs?
Your dogs, yes.
You do?
Yes. I watch his dogs every once in a while.
She's
That's-
house sits.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Well, thank you for having me.
Might have to hire you to watch my dog sometime.
I can do it.
She can be a handful. So we're going to go ahead and take about a 90-second break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Pacers Sports Live. We're going to go ahead and introduce our trivia question for the evening, which is, how many national championships does USC Aiken have in its 11 sports? So we'll have a winner for that a little bit later on, but for now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get personal with our coaches. Coach Mark Miller, what have you got going on these days?
90 seconds, right?
90 seconds.
Well, I was telling these guys before we got started, my personal life has been the same right now. It's recruiting, and it's my son's baseball games or my daughter's softball games. So, this week, starting over the weekend, it's a fun time in our family, getting away to watch March Madness. We watch the men's and the women, so it's been fun for us. We do a little contest within our family to see who's winning. Right now, my son and I are neck and neck. So it's a fun time for our family. We get to spend some time, watching basketball if we don't always do that, but it's a fun atmosphere for us. So for me, it's recruiting, watching basketball, and watching softball and baseball right now. So it's a good time for me.
Awesome. Coach Vanderslice, how about you?
You just stole my thunder. My Thunder was I get 4 days of Christmas. Most people get 1 day of Christmas. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are my Christmas days for March Madness. And I'll honest, they're the best days of the year for coaches. Yeah. And it's just nonstop from 12 o'clock till 12 o'clock. You have games. So for those 4 days, for that stretch, that was a great opportunity to just have fun with family. You know, kind of have your brackets filled out, see who you picked, which I'm busted like everybody else is.
Everybody in the country's busted.
Oh yeah. But I did see somebody went 0-16, which is the reverse of trying to get the best. I'd never seen that before. They posted that on like ESPN.com or something. But no, that's been it. Coach Miller said it best. I mean, it's we're doing the same stuff now that the season's over. But you do get a little bit of a break and a breath of fresh air with a lot of games. You know, once March Madness hits.
Excellent. And Coach Thomas, how are you doing these days?
Well, I think I'm doing okay. On the bus ride on the way to Americus, Georgia Thursday night, my wife called, said garbage disposal had gone out at the house. She was leaving Friday morning to come to Americus. So today I get a call, and plumber came, put a garbage disposal in, and decided to fix every other plumbing thing in the house. I didn't know we had that much. I didn't know you could go out and look at the water meter, and see that it's running when nothing's running, and end up with a $700 bill to fix every dadgum faucet in the house. But so that happened today. She called and said, well, $700. I said, for a garbage disposal? No, we fixed the whole house. So we rebuilt the house today for $700. I have family coming this weekend. My sister and brother-in-law, some family friends are coming. They kind of picked this weekend to come as hoping there would a milestone what might happen this weekend, and now the pressure's really on them because that milestone, we would have to go undefeated this weekend, this whole week for that.
Coach, I'm gonna just ask. So
my family like to keep up with that when them hundreds hit on wins. My family likes to keep up with that.
And what will that be for you?
I'm 4 away from 1,200.
How much?
1,200 wins. I'm 4 away from that.
Nice, man.
And so, but I got to win 4 before we worry about that.
How many?
4 away.
From
but anyhow, from 1,200.
1,200 wins?
Mm-hmm. So my family decided to come this week because they thought they had kind of figured it out where it was going to hit, you know, and now
let me ask you this question.
A lot of pressure to get to that point.
Let me ask you this question. It's going to happen sometime, and
yeah, if I coach 4 or 5 more years, maybe.
No, and I guess I'm like wondering, why are we just hearing about this now?
Well,
I know from your standpoint, you're going to keep it under the radar, and like the rest of us coaches would, but
it's a family thing.
1,200 is a lot of wins.
It's kind of a family thing for us. I mean, when my dad was alive, he liked to keep up with that a lot. Like I said, at his funeral, I laid my 500 win ball in there with him to go with him because he has kept up with that over the years. My dad really did. He kept up with that a lot. So obviously, that was important to me. I found the 500 ball in his apartment, you know, and so cool. I took it there and put it in with him to go with him. So so our family has really more than me.
Sure.
I have a lot more to worry about than them 100 every time it hits 100. You know, I have a whole lot more to worry about than that. And so, but they like to keep up with it. So now my sister and brother-in-law are coming this week, and I'm saying, honey, I told my wife, I said, you better inform them who we play this week. I'm hoping it happens by Sunday. I really do. But, you know, wow.
1,200 wins, Coach, is a lot.
We got to have a really good week this week for that to happen by Sunday, you know. So, but anyhow, so I'm really excited to see my sister and brother-in-law this week. I haven't seen them since Christmas Day, and so I'm really excited for them to come down this week. Puts a little more pressure on Miss Judy entertaining a little bit there while family's here, but I am really excited for them to come. My sister has been an avid follower of all my career, and so I'm really excited for them to come.
Coach, will she be at the Liars table on Friday?
Probably will.
Well, oh, good,
Yeah.
good. I was glad of that.
Now, hopefully they don't have to stay 3 weeks to see that sport. I hope it happens soon. You know,
You just got to win every game this week, right?
Yeah, I have to do that. That's going to be a real tall task. Very, very tall task. But anyhow, they thought they had figured it out, but maybe they have, maybe they haven't. We'll see.
Maybe they're the secret.
Maybe there he is. So maybe they are. So.
Congrats,
Well, let's
Coach.
go ahead.
That's awesome. No, I'm just saying, congrats. I didn't know anything about it.
I didn't know anything about it either.
Well,
That's a lot of wins, Coach.
It's just, like I said, my family has always kept up with that. Dan knows that. Miss Judy's kept up with that over the years. And, my goal as a baseball coach has been real simple. When I retire, I want to make sure that I have double the wins as losses. That's very important for a baseball coach. Whatever it is.
What are you at right now?
I don't know. I just know I'm 4 away from that number, but I don't know. But I'm at that point now. I'm secure at that point right now. So if I quit tomorrow, I'd have that. But that's just something with baseball coaches. You always want to, when you leave, you want to have double the wins as losses. That's just very important. That's just been a standard that baseball coaches have gone by. If you're going to be successful, you got to have that.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, that's it. Back
2
to
out of
2 out of
3.
3 again. That's what it is, yeah. So anyhow, big week for us at our house.
All right, and so now that we've gotten caught up with everybody, let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit and go outside of USC Aiken. Let's talk about the thing everybody's talking about right now, March Madness. Coach Mark Vanderslice, you made a good point earlier on about everybody's bracket is pretty much busted at this point. I know mine's been done since Saturday. So we're going to ignore talking about the event as a whole. Let's talk about what happened the other night with UMBC upsetting North Carolina, or Virginia, excuse me. 16 seed being a number 1 seed has never happened before. Talk about, kind of how you guys felt seeing that happen and what was going through your minds as you guys watched that happen.
Well, for me, it's surprising to me that it's taken this long for that to happen. I think it just goes back to, the parity in the men's game. Is, some of those young teams that are that size that don't get a lot of popularity are really good players and a really good program that are really well coached. And I think UMBC is one of those teams that just come in and play. What they got to lose? They're just coming in to play. They got a great style. They enjoy it. They're having fun. They compete hard. Coach has them prepared. It was their night. I guess for me, it's a little shocking that it's taken this long for something that to happen, because I think the parity now in men's basketball compared to, let's just say, 10 years ago, it's very close.
Yeah, it was history in the making. I mean, I think it was 135-0. I'm going to compare this to the 4-minute mile. You don't see people get the 4-minute mile every day, so it's still a tough goal to get to. But once that 4-minute mile was broken, I think it was a mental thing. And now all of a sudden, people they believe they can do this. This is something that isn't impossible. So I think that more than anything, you're going to start to see not every other year, but you're going to see it with more regularity that a 16 will knock off a 1. I think you'll see it at least one more time in the next 5 years, just because now there's that mental edge that you can get it done. But just throughout watching that game, it was fun to watch because everybody's pulling for the underdog, or for most people are pulling for the underdog. But just from a basketball coach's perspective, I'm watching a team that is used to beating the Dukes and the Carolinas now are in a position that don't have a tradition of being a high-scoring team. So they don't really have anything in their package to get them back out of the hole when they're down 15 or 16. So as I was watching that game, about that 12-minute mark, you could see the anxiety being played out with Virginia coming down, not running their stuff, 1 pass, 1 shot. And you knew it was coming, and I think that the other team felt it too. But it was obviously it's great for the sport, and now, the crazy thing is there's so much money. I mean, I don't go off on left field, but there's so much money involved. Did you see UMBC is now getting trademarks for some of the 16-1 sayings and everything for all the apparel being won? Oh, or being made. Wow. So
The newspaper article will probably be posted on a lot of number one's locker room bulletin boards next year too.
yeah, well, and it
It'll
also.
be used as a motivation for
Oh yeah,
number ones.
absolutely, absolutely.
And I can imagine you would probably see their admissions spiking here in the next
Oh,
couple
yeah.
of years as
Well,
well
they
because of
got
that.
a brand new $85 million building that doesn't have the naming rights. But by the end of the month, it's going to have a naming rights. So somebody's going to jump on board. And, for UMBC, it's just it's takeoff for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's all up from
It's
here.
just takeoff.
Yeah, it's like when Coastal Carolina won the College World Series a couple years ago. Their enrollment went up 25%, just like that.
Yep.
I mean, it's just insane, but that's the way people are. They want to be with a winner. And that was, I didn't get to see, obviously, we were playing, I didn't get to see the game, but that must have been really exciting for those guys. I mean, I like seeing that sometimes. That's good
But you're
stuff.
just waiting, when it's 135-0, you're
Yeah.
just waiting for Virginia to keep coming back when it never did. You're
Exactly. That's my bracket was waiting for Virginia to come back.
It busted everybody's brackets. That had to bust everybody's brackets.
Like, well,
I will say I was glad about 30 minutes before the first game, I switched my national champion from Virginia to Villanova. So I am relieved that I did that. So
Still
they
in
had,
the running.
you had him
I
in the,
still
you had-
have hope.
You had him
Still
in the
in the hope.
championship game? Is that what you
I had him in the championship game, yeah. So I still took a hit there, but at least I switched to Villanova winning.
See, we can't do that stuff.
No.
We can't do that stuff. Can we, Coach?
No.
Can't do
We
it.
can't.
Absolutely can't do it.
No, we cannot.
Ask
No,
who
we
was it? The
No, we
Kansas. Who was it? The Kansas football coach?
I think it was
I think you're
Washington State.
No,
wasn't it? Washington. Was it Washington? Washington? Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't make but $4 million a year. He played a.
I think he won like $4,000 or something.
They were on in a neighborhood. It was in his neighborhood. They were just playing one where you just put your name in a square. It was like for $4,000 or
Yeah.
something. That didn't work out too well.
No.
Yeah, mine's just a for fun thing among coworkers, but I wanted the bragging rights.
Sure, that's good.
But and so we'll move on
for
from
that
that,
pizza.
and we'll talk about something a little bit different on the heels of that. What is the greatest sports upset of all time?
Well, for me, I think there's only one.
You and I agree on this.
Mine is the miracle.
Yes.
The hockey team beat Russia. Russia was, at the time, the best hockey team in the world, and had been for many, 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 many years.
And they had already beaten the U.S. team.
Was it 10? I want to say 10
10 to
7
1, I
or
believe.
10 to nothing, or 1
It was
or
10 to
2.
1, I believe,
Yeah.
was the score.
So I think that is the biggest upset ever. I know there's some others that we can mention, but I think, to me, that's the biggest upset.
Yeah, as I said in the previous conversation, that trumps what I'd originally thought, which was what just happened, was the UMBC upset. Before that, I think from a basketball standpoint, I thought it was Chaminade over Virginia back in the day. But now, no. I mean, this definitely takes the cake with UMBC beating Virginia. But I think he's got it. It's the miracle.
Well, I got a different one, as you might imagine.
Which sport?
2004 Major League Baseball World Series. Yankees up 3-0. 1-run lead in the bottom of the ninth, or top of the ninth, against Boston Red Sox. Arguably the greatest closer in the history of Major League Baseball. Mario Rivera pitching for the Yankees. 1-run lead, base hit, steal second, base hit, tie the game. Ortiz hits a home run. They go on and win the next 3 games. That's never been done before that moment, never been done. After that moment, if you remember, Schilling pitches the 7th game with the bloody ankle.
bloody sock.
It was called the Blood Fest. There's a lot of people that still today said that was a show, that his ankle really wasn't bleeding, that they were just putting stuff on his sock to add to the show. I don't know that, but that may have been the biggest upset that I can.
It's definitely one of the biggest comebacks.
Yeah, I mean that's never been done since. Somebody's up 3-0 in the games, and to lose the World Series, and especially when they're 1 run up in the 4th game.
Well, I have my other one, and for us older folks in the crowd,
they at?
1969,
Oh,
the New York Jets and the Baltimore Colts.
yes.
got me on
That's
Yes.
that goes way back.
Yeah.
I was 4 years old. just to give you an idea, but some of us won't even know that. But
Yeah, I wasn't
the
born
Colts
yet.
were the heavy favorite, and Joe Namath beat them, and
Yes.
Joe Namath runs off the field with the famous #1. That's another good one.
That's very true. And you can go back and watch replays some of that game. I mean, Joe Namath was amazing.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to nod my
amazing.
head. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even know.
Yeah,
you
I
only
had to
know
watch-
Joe Namath from the
I do know Joe
commercials.
Namath, but I did
Yeah,
not know
only
that
from the
game.
commercials. You never saw him play.
Yeah, 10 years later when I was born, I got a couple of years from
Joe
now.
Namath might have been. Hey, Joe Namath might have been your teammate.
Yeah.
He played at Alabama.
Yeah,
He
I
could have been your teammate.
I'd have tackled him, put him out, never would have played.
But that was a great comeback. That was a great comeback.
Yeah.
That was a great comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went a little bit different. I do agree with Coach Miller about the Miracle being the greatest, but another great one that nobody's mentioned here yet is Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson
Yeah.
Yes.
That is
in
a good
the
one.
10th round, I believe it was.
That is a good one.
That is a good one.
And Coach Miller and I were talking about it, and he said, well, how great was Douglas after that? And I said he immediately lost the title the next fight to Evander Holyfield.
Shows you how big of an upset it was.
Exactly.
Right.
He
I
was
didn't
not
realize
supposed
that
to.
until you
Yeah.
said that.
Mike Tyson had beaten pretty much all contenders
That's
at that
that's
point,
a
and
really
Buster
good one.
Douglas was just kind of somebody that we got to have somebody fight him.
Was that before he chewed the ear off or after?
That
he
was
chewed-
before because Tyson fought Evander Holyfield for the title
Afterwards.
after Buster Douglas. And I don't think he ever fought Buster Douglas again after that.
Well, Buster Douglas barely fought at all after that.
He
didn't have
fought.
to.
He fought a handful of times after that, but
Yeah.
fighting Tyson and beating Tyson, he was set for
That was
life.
that. He
after
went
that.
down in infamy. No, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
good.
I'm flattered, frankly. I'm glad that I
Well,
was
if
able
we're
to
talking
throw
about
that in there.
comebacks, and I'm going to go down nostalgia lane, I was a big Braves fan back in the day, and when Francisco Cabrera hit that little dinger right between
Yep.
third and short, coming back, talking about comebacks, and they beat the Pittsburgh Pirates. Was
Yes.
it 91?
I think so.
91 when they came back. That was like,
The worst first year. I believe.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Man, that was a great year.
What were you, like 8 then?
I was, I was 13.
Yeah.
13.
Dang. I wasn't but 18.
And, I was even also thinking on the way over here, on the drive over here, this year's Super Bowl. Not a lot of people gave the Eagles much of a chance to beat the Patriots, and then they came in and did it fairly soundly.
Well, but you
Yeah,
wouldn't
but
call
that's-
you wouldn't
I
call
would-
the Eagles a bad
big
team or a
under-
team that couldn't be successful. So
That's true.
Was it an upset? Yeah, okay.
That's why I think it's tough to say anything. Too many of the baseball, basketball, football. I mean, I guess there is. I guess because y'all named a couple, but
That is also true. And then you had the App State Michigan game
I thought
a few
about
years
that.
ago.
I thought about that.
That was a really good one.
Villanova, Georgetown,
Villanova, Georgetown.
NC State, Houston.
Villanova, Georgetown. I'm trying to remember, but I'm almost positive that Villanova shot like 75% from the field. They couldn't miss.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, there's so many options when you
Well-
start thinking about that. I mean,
That's a good question, though. That's a good question.
you could even go further into the mixed martial arts world with Chris Weidman beating Anderson Silva with what a lot of people thought he was at the top of his game, unbeatable at that point.
You're showing your sports.
Yeah.
Dang.
You're showing your sports.
This is my this is the moment I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
Honestly,
you're doing a good job.
where I
Well,
nod
if you want to
again.
go there, Hulk Hogan beating Andre the Giant. I mean,
He
Back
never
in the
beat Andre the Giant.
he did WrestleMania 3, I
thank
believe
you.
that was.
Thank you. He picked him up and slammed him, and his back has never been the same
I
since.
deleted that. I deleted it.
But then Ultimate Warrior beating Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania.
We
a
might as
couple
well
years
start
later.
talking about monster
Hey,
trucks.
Dan Robb just gave me the
Right?
stop sign, so I
gotta-
am stopping
right?
right now.
We can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done.
The greatest esports upset.
Well, I mean, when I beat Dan Robb in ping pong,
That's
I was
impressive.
playing with a
Wait,
mayonnaise
are you
jar
guys
top.
you ping pong player?
Yeah. I played with a mayonnaise jar top.
And he played with a.
A paddle, yeah.
The paddle?
Ping pong paddle.
You let him win.
I do know
What
a
did
guy.
you
I
need? You
do
let
know
him
a guy
win.
in,
You let him win.
I know a guy in Augusta, Georgia that's a world-class ping pong guy, and he will beat you with a mayonnaise jar top. I've had it done. I didn't believe it. but I saw it right on the table. He beat me with a mayonnaise jar top. I give up ping pong.
Well, I think we've I think we've carried the greatest upset conversation about as long as it can go when we get to losing in ping pong to a mayonnaise top.
Yes, that happened.
To Dan Robb. Oh, no.
Yeah, not to Dan Robb, to the world-class ping pong player down in Georgia.
Mr. Pete Mays, his name.
I'd be amazed to see it. I'd like to take that challenge myself.
He's good.
But so we're going to go ahead and announce the winner of our trivia question. We'll go ahead and repeat that now. It's how many national championships does UAC Aiken have in 11 sports? And the answer is 5. And the winner is Courtney Strauss.
Really?
So she's going to win a free piece of USC Aiken merchandise. It's going to be awesome. So, I mean, as we always say, it doesn't really get any better than that. Free USC Aiken merchandise. I still haven't gotten any free USC Aiken merchandise because it turns out I can't participate in this. But for now, we're going to say thank you to everyone for coming out. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. And we're going to actually delay the next episode. So we'll be back in about 3 weeks with the next episode. And we'll see you, all of the coaches then. And we'll see all of you guys down here at Mellow Mushroom in Aiken, South Carolina. Thank you for tuning in.